Congratulations, you've landed an anaesthetic registrar job and you're about to embark on what I hope will be a long and successful and happy career. As you start preparing for your new job, let's take a moment to talk money and more specifically, training fees. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Talking Money series of the Australian Anaesthesia podcast. I'm Susie New from the Australian Society of Anaesthetists, and in this episode, I'm chatting with Dr. Jason Kong, the chair of the ASA's Trainee member group. We talk all things training fees. We break them down and also discuss when you might expect to pay them so that you can plan and focus on the big ticket items such as passing your exams. Before we delve into this episode, I want to point out that the training fees are set by the college. And you'll hear it come up, but I want to point out that they are frequently updated, and so I recommend that you check the college website and their trainee handbook for the latest information. Members, you can find the trainee handbook by Googling ANZCA Training Handbook, and it's a downloadable PDF. When you're doing that, please double check that you've got the right version because they are being updated all the time. All right, let's get into it. The rest of this episode is available for members of the Australian Society of Anaesthetists only and can be found on our website asa.org.au. If you are a pre-vocational doctor, so someone who's not yet an anaesthetic trainee, or you are an anaesthetic trainee in your first few years of training, then membership of the ASA is complimentary. So please don't let the membership fees be a barrier to joining and learning from this podcast. I'll put a link to the ANZCA handbook and their fees page in the show notes, as well as a direct link to this podcast. When you get to the Talking Money webpage, you are looking for episode number 13. That's number 13. All right, I look forward to seeing you on the website and for the rest of the episode. And once again, congratulations on getting a registrar position.
Thank you for listening to the Australian Anaesthesia podcast, which can be found on all the major podcast hosting platforms, as well as YouTube. This podcast is produced by the Australian Society of Anaesthetists and hosted by Dr. Susie New with music created by Dr. Mark Seuss. The ASA was formed in 1934, and our vision is for every anaesthetist in Australia to be at their best, providing the highest quality anaesthesia and perioperative care through excellent technical and non-technical skills. We also hope that this means that you are functioning at your best when you're away from work. In this podcast, we have conversations that seek to inform, challenge, and inspire you to keep you performing at your best. Members of the ASA can access full versions of all episodes by logging into the ASA website at asa.org.au. If you are listening on your favourite podcast app, then make sure you look at the episode notes for the direct link to the podcast on the ASA website. Also, feel free to follow or subscribe so that you can receive the latest episodes as we do publish regularly. If you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to email us on podcast@asa.org.au. Thank you for your time, and we hope you enjoyed listening.